Hey everybody. In class lately we've been talking about simplifying algebraic expressions by using the distributive property and by combining like terms, but we've only done these two things separately. In algebra, when we're working with algebraic expressions, we can actually use these things together to write complicated expressions in simpler forms. Okay? We're going to work on 4 examples today to do that, and for each of these 4 examples we're going to follow the same steps, the same 4 steps. Our first step, like we've been doing with all of these problems, is to rewrite each expression using only addition if necessary. So if we see any subtraction, we're going to change it to addition. So in my first example here, I have a -2. There's no subtraction here. That's just a -2 times, and inside my parentheses, I have a -4a plus 7. Even though we have a -4a, there's no subtraction in here, so I don't need to change anything to addition. And then at the end of my expression, I have a -5a. So there's my subtraction. I'm going to change that to an addition problem, and that's going to become -5a. Okay? Now we can distribute. So to distribute, I'm going to draw my boxes. I have -2 as my width, and that's being multiplied by -4a and +7 plus 7. -2 times -4 is 8a, +8. -2 times 7 is -14. So I'm going to rewrite this. I have 8a. Remember that line in the middle of the box means plus, so plus -14 plus -5a. Now we want to combine like terms. So in order to combine like terms, right, I'm going to rearrange this so all my like terms are next to each other. And I have 2 like terms here. I have 8a and -5a. So 8a plus -5a plus -14. I have all my terms next to each other. I combine 8a plus -5a is 3a. 8 plus -5 is 3. And that -14 has nothing to combine with. So it just comes down, doesn't go anywhere. And now my final step, I want to simplify my signs. Because I have plus -14 here, an easier way to write that is actually -14. So this expression we started with up at the top, this sort of complicated looking expression right here, comes down here, and you notice it is in a much simpler form. That's what we're going for. All right, let's try another one. We're going to start with our same step. I'm looking up at my expression here, and I do see we have a subtraction sign right here where it says -4x minus 5. So I am going to want to rewrite this expression. I'm going to have 12 plus 3 times -4x plus -5 plus 6x. So I only changed this one subtraction sign. I changed it to an addition sign. I changed the 5 to -5. Now, step 2, I want to distribute. Now, here is my distribution right here, where I have 3 times -4x times -5. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw our boxes. We're multiplying 3 by -4x and -5. 3 times -4x, that's -12x. 3 times -5 is -15. So I'm going to rewrite my expression after the distribution step. That becomes 12 plus, now I have -12x plus -15. I should probably put parentheses around these. Plus 6x, right? Notice this expression up here, this distribution step, became this down here. The other 2 terms didn't change. The only thing that changed was that multiplication part. Now, we're going to combine like terms. We're going to rearrange these. I have 12, and this -15 is a like term because they don't have any variables. 12 plus -15. And I have 2x terms. We're going to put those at the end here. Okay, right? We had our two constants. We put those together. And we have our two variable terms. I'll circle both of those to show that those are like terms. Okay, now we can add these together. 12 plus negative 15 is negative 3. Negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6, and we have the x there. And can I simplify my signs? I do have plus a negative. We're adding negative 6x, so I'm going to change that to negative 3 minus 6x is one way we can write that answer. And that is our final answer for that problem. That's the simplest version of the expression we started with. You might have noticed by now these problems have a lot of steps, so it's really careful that we're making sure we're doing everything right. We're taking our time, we're not trying to rush, and we're not skipping anything, because when we skip steps, that's when we make mistakes. So in my third example here, I have actually 3 subtraction signs I'm going to need to change. I have one here, and one here that I need to change to addition. So let's start with negative 7x plus, now here we have a negative and then parentheses 8x plus negative 7 plus negative 2x. This is a complicated problem here because we had to change this minus to plus a negative, and this whole parentheses becomes negative here, right? Minus to a plus, so this has to become negative, and then we changed this minus to a plus, so this 7 had to become negative. And same thing here, minus to a plus, 2x becomes negative 2x. Now, though, we can distribute. We have, now look at those parentheses we have in the middle. Notice here how we have negative 8x plus negative 7. This is something we saw in a previous problem. Remember, we can think of having this negative out in front as being a negative 1, right? Because we can multiply something by negative 1 to make it negative. So when we distribute, we have negative 1 as our width, and as our length we have 8x, and we have negative 7, right? Because it's plus negative 7. Now when we multiply, we get negative 8x, and we get positive 7. So my new expression is negative 7x plus negative 8x plus 7 plus negative 2x. Now to combine like terms, I want to rearrange using the commutative property of addition. Negative 7x plus negative 8x plus negative 2x. I have all my x terms together because those are like terms, and I put 7 at the end, right? All of my like terms are going to go together, and now we can add these. Negative 7 plus negative 8 is negative 15, so it's negative 15x. Negative 15x plus negative 2x is negative 17x plus 7. And I want to simplify my signs if I can, if it's necessary, but here I just have plus 7. There's actually nothing to simplify. I already have everything as just one sign, so my answer is negative 17x plus 7. I think that's actually a good place to stop for today. I know we said we're going to do 4 examples, but those were pretty long examples with a lot of steps. So make sure you have all the steps for each of these problems. You do your questions, your summary, submit your notes, and I will see you guys in class.